Hey Farm Fam, it's Todd from Headwaters Homestead. It is a hot one today. It is 96 degrees on the homestead right now. We are hurting for rain. It might not be readily obvious behind me there, but our fields are kind of dry. I was taking a 4-tine tiller out there to loosen up some soil the other day, and it was like tilling in concrete. That almost broke me. But it's a hot one. It's going to be cooler, thankfully, tomorrow. And tomorrow, we are going to do some chicken processing. So, I have a question for you, and it'll determine whether or not you want to watch the rest of this video. Are you short? Let's see why I asked that. All right, I ask if you're short, because if you are short or of a shorter stature, you might be comfortable processing chickens on your regular 30-inch high table. But for Christine and I, we are not short. I am 6'1" and she is knocking on 5'11". So between the two of us, we are tall people. And we have found from processing chickens in the past that the shorter 30-inch tables, like the one you see here, don't quite do it. So I'm going to show you today how we take one of these 30-inch tables and we add about another 10 inches to it. That's right, we're going to bump it up to a 40-inch table, which is what we use as our chicken processing stands. If you're tall, a 30-inch table feels a little short. You're bending over just a little bit while you're working in your workspace. We found what that led last year was to fatigue in the lower back and soreness up in the shoulders from working in a hunched position. Adding 10 inches to the table, just a little bit taller than your standard kitchen countertop. Those are usually 35 inches tall. We're about 5 inches higher. Put your workspace right up here. What it does for us is we're working nice and straight up and down. We don't have that lean at the lower back. We don't have that fatigue on the shoulders as we're hunching over. This is going to be a lot easier to do the hands-on work of chicken processing on a taller table. And just a little bit of PVC pipe on the bottom, that's what's going to lift it up into that sweet spot. Your height might be different, but for Christine and I, about 40 inches is where we want to be. So the most expensive part of this project is what you're looking at right here. These are the PVC fittings that we're using to get the base made. And what you've got here are 45-degree angles. We've got one of those at each top. That's to accommodate the fact that our legs flare out as opposed to coming straight down. Now, if you're working with legs that are coming straight down, you could eliminate these and go straight into your T's and just use those for your supports. But we are using these 45-degree angles. We come down to a T, and at the bottom, we've got a 90-degree angle. These are all 1-inch PVC fittings. What we're using in between them is Schedule 40 PVC pipe. Now, when we run the legs apart from each other, I've measured out the table legs, and I need about 20 inches to run between these two, and that gives us the stability at the bottom. To get the height we want, I'm using 3.5-inch segments between each of these. And just cutting those and fitting them in together, each side will give you, this is going to be one side here once we put those pieces of PVC pipe into it. I said this is probably the most expensive part here. You're looking at about $8 in hardware for these pieces here. Luckily, the Schedule 40 PVC pipe is relatively cheap. I'm getting 10 foot of 1-inch pipe for about $6.35. Two 10-foot posts were more than enough to make both tables that I'm raising for this. And in order to do two of these, this will be one side, and right over here on the truck bed is the other one. But that's going to be our two bases. And we're going to use this piece of 10-foot, 1-inch Schedule 40 pipe with those to make exactly what we have over there. So I've got all my parts cut. I got my table over there ready to go. I'll put some of these pieces together right now. I found I can't assemble the entire thing because of the way those legs are flared. So I do have to leave the last pieces loose until I put them in position to get them tightened on there. But I can at least assemble the basic of the frame while I'm here at the taller table. So again, we've got all of our pieces. 20-inch on our tees. Just squeeze those in nice and tight. Each one of these is 3.5 inches. Tuck those down in, push them together tight. Run our 20-inch PVC pipe off of here as well. Over here into another 90-degree. 3.5 there. Piece those together. There's the bottom half. Put a 3.5 inch on each of these. And then we're going to take our 45s and we're going to put those over the legs on the table over there. For now, everything just nests in. I'm just going to push these together so they're nice and snug. I am going to go back and use PVC cement on parts of this to make it hold more rigid. But again, I'm going to have to be able to remove these pieces up here in order to get the legs on and off so I can fold the tables up when they're not in use. But just some nice even pressure is going to snug those all together. All right, I got our other piece together. Go ahead and put our 45-degree angles on there. Fit it in snug. And give it some nice steady pressure on both sides. And voila, a nicer, higher, easy to work on table. These are what we'll be using tomorrow when we're processing our chickens. I think they're going to work out nice. Again, if you're shorter and you're comfortable on a 30-inch table, they might be perfect for you. If you need about a 10-inch taller table like Christine and I do, adding 10 inches will work. You might find that even just adding 5 inches, bringing it up to the height of your kitchen counter, is going to make it better for your needs. But save yourself the trouble of the back and the shoulders leaning over to do all that work. All right, and here we are, all set up and ready for tomorrow. Got our transport containers. That's our slaughter station. We do a pre-rinse immediately after slaughter. Find that rinses some of the excess dirt and dust off the birds, keeps it from getting into the scalder, which ultimately keeps the water in the scalder cleaner. From the scalder, straight into the plucker. From the plucker, right over to our workstations. There you can see we got the extra tall tables, collection buckets and materials, a post-rinse station that's going to have some apple cider vinegar mixed in with the water and some ice to help chill down the birds. And then before weighing, they're going to go into yet another cooler with ice and water to keep them nice and chilled until they're ready to be moved over, weighed, ultimately bagged and then into the coolers for the day. So that's our setup. That's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. Again, there's our extended tables. Nothing left now but to get to it. And there's our first 25 lucky participants right back here in their porta coop. They are all ready to go. We did not pull their feed this morning, but they won't be fed tonight. We will be pulling this, so they'll be nice and ready for processing tomorrow. There we go, big fella. We got chickens everywhere right now. These guys are gonna move out onto pasture tomorrow. After we finish processing the birds that are out there in the chicken tractor, we'll reset the whole process. These guys are just about ready to move up and onto a bigger enclosure. They've been in here just a couple of weeks, but they're going to be our last ones to cycle through. Unlike the others that were Cornish cross, these guys are big red broilers. They're going to take about 12 weeks to grow out before we process them, where both rounds of Cornish cross only take about 8 weeks. But it feels like we got chickens everywhere. So, like I said, we're going to process about 25 birds tomorrow. I'm sure we'll shoot some footage of that too. I'll let you know how these tables went. Thanks for watching, Farm Fam. Have a great one.